My sister screamed I tried to poison her at her baby shower. My parents believed her, but cameras exposed the truth. And I refused to forgive them. 9 months ago, I went through one of the darkest moments of my life. I had a miscarriage. When my husband, Oliver, and I first found out we were expecting, it felt like the world had suddenly become brighter. We were overjoyed, talking for hours about what our baby might look like, whose eyes they'd inherit, and what kind of parents we'd become. Oliver was endlessly supportive, and every moment felt magical. We started setting up the nursery immediately, painting the walls a soft, soothing color, buying tiny furniture, and imagining the day we'd bring our child home. I bought stacks of books on pregnancy and parenting, eager to learn everything about this new chapter of our lives. But that happiness didn't last long. One night, I woke up with a gut-wrenching feeling that something was wrong. There wasn't any clear reason for it, just a deep sense of fear sitting heavy in my chest. I rushed to the bathroom, my heart pounding, and then I saw the blood. My knees almost gave out. Panic overtook me as I started sobbing uncontrollably. Oliver burst into the room, terrified, and immediately understood what was happening. Without wasting a second, he rushed me to the hospital. The drive felt endless. Every second felt heavier than the last. When we finally arrived and the doctors began their examination, I held my breath, praying for any glimmer of hope. But then the doctor looked at me with soft eyes and said the words no expectant mother ever wants to hear. I had lost the baby. It felt like my world shattered in that instant. Shock, pain, confusion, it all came crashing down at once. I couldn't stop crying. Even breathing felt like a chore. Through all of it, Oliver stayed by my side, his strength holding me together when I couldn't stand on my own. In the days that followed, I fell apart. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't even talk. Everything around me felt colorless, meaningless. I took 2 weeks off work because I couldn't pretend to function anymore. Every morning when I opened my eyes, there was a split second of peace, until reality came flooding back, reminding me that our baby was gone. The pain was unbearable. The only time I found relief was when I was asleep, because dreaming meant escaping the truth. My family tried to help. My parents and my sister, Elise, checked in constantly. My cousins brought food, sat by my side, and reminded me I wasn't alone. But even with their support, I felt empty inside. Oliver was my anchor through it all. He never forced me to talk. He just stayed, sitting in silence, bringing me food, holding my hand. He reminded me gently that our story wasn't over, that one day we'd try again. His hope kept me alive when I had none left. Slowly, painfully, I began to heal. I went back to work, trying to rebuild some kind of normal routine. The distraction helped, though the pain never truly disappeared. At quiet moments, grief would sneak back in, reminding me of what I'd lost. Eventually, I joined a few online groups for women who had gone through miscarriages. Reading their stories made me feel less isolated. For the first time, I realized my emotions weren't unusual. They were shared by so many others. It gave me strength. I began to open up, share my story, and accept that healing didn't mean forgetting. Even now, I know that grief will never vanish completely, but I've learned not to blame myself. Sometimes, life just doesn't go as planned. I was finally starting to find peace until last week when everything fell apart again. My sister, Elise, was pregnant. She had found out 2 months ago but hadn't told me directly. I heard it from one of our cousins instead. It hurt. Not because I wasn't happy for her, but because Elise and I had always been close. She had comforted me through my loss, and now she was hiding her joy from me. When I confronted her, she said she hadn't wanted to hurt me, that sharing her pregnancy might reopen my wounds. I understood her intention, but it still stung. I told her she should never feel afraid to share her happiness with me, and that despite my grief, I'd always love her baby as if it were my own. She seemed relieved, and things between us felt normal again. Elise was going through a lot. She was in the middle of a divorce from her husband, Lucas. The news had shocked our entire family. They had always seemed perfect together. Elise said only that they had irreconcilable differences, but refused to elaborate. Whatever the truth was, I decided not to pry. Instead, I focused on helping her through the pregnancy. I went with her to doctor appointments and made sure she had whatever support she needed. Then she decided to host her baby shower at Lucas's new house, of all places. He had just moved into a home with a beautiful backyard, and she said it was the perfect venue. She invited me, our mom, and a few cousins to help her plan it. We all wanted it to be special, something that would make Elise feel loved during this turbulent time. During lunch, my cousins were kind enough to check in on me, saying they admired how strong I'd been after my loss. But Elise's face changed. She rolled her eyes and told everyone to stop talking about sad stuff. She said people needed to move on from my miscarriage already. Her words hit me like a slap, though I stayed quiet, assuming she was just stressed. Later, when I dropped her home, she joked, half seriously, that ever since my miscarriage I'd been stealing her spotlight. I froze. I asked her what she meant, and she said everyone always focused on me instead of her, and she didn't want her baby shower to turn into another sympathy session about my loss. Her words cut deep. I apologized anyway, promising her I wouldn't bring up my miscarriage or draw any attention away from her. I wanted her day to be perfect. 3 days ago, the baby shower finally happened. I stayed in the background the whole time, smiling, helping, doing everything I could to make sure Elise was happy. I avoided any topic that might make her uncomfortable. Still, a few relatives came up and hugged me, offering kind words, not realizing how those simple gestures made Elise tense. I could feel her glaring at me each time someone showed me sympathy. Lucas was there too, and seeing him again was strange. He looked thinner, tired, a little broken. He hugged me warmly and even apologized for not checking in on me after my miscarriage. I told him not to worry about it. After all, he and Elise were going through enough themselves. But I didn't know that what happened next would destroy everything between me, Elise, and our parents. Even though Elise never shared many details about her breakup, it was clear that Lucas was struggling in his own quiet way. My husband, Oliver, had also come to the baby shower, so he and Lucas spent most of their time outside in the backyard, grilling food, chatting, and keeping the men entertained. Inside, the atmosphere was warm and cheerful. Everyone had brought heartfelt gifts for Elise and her soon-to-arrive baby. One of our cousins presented a hand-knitted blanket that made everyone smile. My dad surprised Elise with a baby rocker, while my mom proudly gifted her a brand-new stroller, which instantly became her favorite. For my gift, I decided to give something deeply personal. I wrapped up a couple of parenting books that had been incredibly helpful to me during my own pregnancy, along with a delicate baby shawl, one that carried a lot of meaning in my heart. I'd bought that shawl in Istanbul right after discovering I was pregnant. It was light, beautifully woven, and soft enough for a newborn. Back then, I imagined wrapping my own baby in it one day. After losing the pregnancy, the shawl became a painful reminder of what I'd lost. Yet, it was also one of the few things that still connected me to the hope I once had. I couldn't bring myself to throw it away. Over time, I began to see it not as a symbol of grief, but as something that could bring comfort and love to someone else. So when Elise's baby shower came around, I thought gifting her that shawl might finally bring it the purpose I had always envisioned: warmth, love, and new life. It felt like closing one painful chapter while helping open another. But when Elise unwrapped it, her smile froze. Her expression hardened, and she stared at the shawl like it was something dirty. Then, in front of everyone, she asked why on earth I'd bring that to her baby shower. Confused, I gently explained that it was meaningful to me, a way to pass on something filled with love and hope. I never imagined it would upset her. Around us, guests murmured about how beautiful the shawl was, but Elise wasn't hearing any of it. Instead, her eyes flashed with anger. She accused me of trying to curse her baby by giving her something connected to my miscarriage. I was stunned. I tried to explain again that it wasn't meant that way, it was meant to honor her and her child. But before I could finish, my mother spoke up sharply. She said it was inappropriate to gift Elise something that had once belonged to my lost child, that it could bring bad energy into her new beginning. Her words stung. My hands shook as I picked the shawl back up and apologized, trying to stay composed even though my heart felt like it was cracking. I never wanted to embarrass anyone. I just wanted to do something kind. But Elise wasn't finished. Her voice was sharp, trembling with anger as she said that just because I'd lost my baby didn't mean I could hand down leftovers to hers. That her child deserved better. Her words hit me like a knife to the chest. Tears blurred my eyes before Oliver stepped in. His tone was firm but calm as he told Elise to stop. He explained to her and everyone else listening that my gift came from a place of love, not jealousy or malice. He reminded her that if she didn't like it, she could have simply told me later, not humiliated me in front of everyone. His voice carried authority and the room went silent. Even Elise seemed caught off guard. One of our cousins quickly stepped in, urging everyone to move on and enjoy the party. I tried to breathe, forcing a smile, though my heart was heavy. I quietly offered to buy her something else and have it delivered later, hoping to mend things. Elise just scoffed and told me not to bother. The rest of the afternoon was awkward. I stayed polite, helping serve food and smiling for pictures, but the tension lingered. I wanted the day to be perfect for her, yet everything I did seemed to make things worse. Later, while everyone was eating, I decided to try again. I fixed a plate with Elise's favorite mashed potatoes and roasted chicken, just the way she liked it. When I brought it to her, I apologized once more and told her how much I loved her. She barely looked at me, snatched the plate, and turned away without a word. Feeling crushed, I went back to sit beside Oliver. A few minutes later, we heard Elise coughing violently. Everyone turned as she clutched her throat, her face red and swollen. Panic spread instantly. I rushed toward her, shouting for someone to call 911. My mom grabbed her phone while I tried to help Elise sit upright. My heart pounded. All I could think about was making sure she and the baby were safe. Paramedics arrived within minutes and rushed her to the hospital. Oliver, my parents, Lucas, and I all followed in separate cars. At the hospital, the doctors confirmed Elise had suffered a severe allergic reaction. She was allergic to lobster, something everyone knew, but Lucas had made sure to cook the seafood on a separate grill. The food I gave her only had chicken and mashed potatoes. I was certain I hadn't given her anything unsafe. But when Elise woke up, her first words were an accusation. She pointed at me and screamed that I had poisoned her. She told my parents that I'd brought her the plate after our argument, that I must have slipped something into it out of spite. My blood ran cold. I couldn't even speak. I denied it immediately, begging her to believe me, but she wouldn't listen. She demanded I leave her room, shouting until the nurses came in. My parents looked torn, but when Elise cried, they comforted her instead of me. I left the hospital feeling hollow. Over the next few days, things spiraled out of control. My parents started avoiding my calls, and soon, word spread among relatives that I had tried to harm Elise. Some even suggested I was jealous of her pregnancy and had acted out of envy. It was humiliating and heartbreaking. My parents demanded that I apologize for peace's sake, saying my refusal was causing Elise unnecessary stress during her pregnancy. But I hadn't done anything wrong. I refused to apologize for something I didn't do. I never imagined my story would explode the way it did. Within days, my inbox was flooded with messages from strangers, some offering support, others sharing similar experiences. Thank you to everyone who showed kindness and empathy. It meant more than you can imagine. Many people understood why I gave the shawl. It wasn't about grief, it was about love. Sadly, Elise saw it differently. She made a public post on social media accusing me of trying to poison her food and claiming I was jealous of her pregnancy. Reading her words felt like a dagger to my heart. To try and settle things, Lucas invited all of us, me, Oliver, my parents, and Elise, to his house for a final talk. I didn't want to go, but Oliver convinced me that it was time for the truth to come out. And the truth did come out in the most unexpected way. Elise started the meeting by demanding that I admit everything in front of everyone. Before I could even respond, Lucas stood up and said he had something to show us. He revealed that he had installed security cameras around his home for safety reasons, and they had recorded the entire baby shower. He played the footage for all of us to see. There I was bringing Elise her food, plain chicken and mashed potatoes, nothing else. No lobster anywhere near it. The video showed Elise chatting, laughing, and then asking a cousin for sauce. That cousin who had lobster on her own plate offered her some. Elise dipped her chicken in it, and within minutes she began coughing. The proof was undeniable. My parents' faces drained of color as they realized what they were seeing. Elise's allergic reaction had nothing to do with me. She had accidentally eaten from her cousin's plate. When confronted, Elise tried to twist things again, saying maybe I'd put something in before giving her the plate. But by then, no one believed her. Oliver was furious. He told Elise that if she didn't take down her false accusations, we'd take legal action for defamation. Lucas backed us up, confirming the footage was untouched and time-stamped. My parents finally apologized, quietly, shamefully, realizing how quickly they'd turned against me without proof. But I wasn't ready to forgive. I told them point blank that if they hadn't seen the video, they'd still believe I'd done it. When I asked my mother to tell the rest of the family the truth, to clear my name, she hesitated. She said, "It doesn't matter anymore, let's just move on." That made me even angrier. Moving on without accountability wasn't peace, it was avoidance. I told her that until she corrected the story publicly, I couldn't maintain a relationship with them. Oliver and I left that day with a copy of the footage from Lucas, and our trust in my family completely shattered. After thinking long and hard, I decided I was done staying silent. I shared the footage myself, the same clip Lucas had shown us, and explained what really happened. I wrote that my sister had accused me falsely, my parents had believed her without question, and that Elise's own carelessness had nearly caused her allergic reaction. The response was immediate. Family members who had ignored or blamed me called to apologize. Some even said they were disgusted that Elise had let things go that far. Now Elise's reputation has taken the hit she tried to give me. She deleted her post and stopped responding to anyone. My parents keep calling, but I've chosen to keep my distance. Oliver and I agreed we'll only reconnect when they acknowledge what they did, not just to me, but to the truth. For now, I've finally made peace with one thing. I didn't lose my family that day. I simply learned who they really were. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to leave a comment. Hit subscribe, follow for more, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss the next one.